It's Saturday, motherfuckers. So we're here with a classic film. Great way to start off December with Gremlins. That is it's a Christmas movie. A lot of people forget. And it's also a classic, cult classic, some would say. I am having a hard time focusing on Gremlins because I just read this news article about how processed meat like hot dogs and sausage and ham and shit gives you cancer. And red meat probably gives you cancer too, is what they say, which seems very loose to me. I don't know why they would say that. And I think that maybe this is just all the thing to try to, like a stab at Subway. Like Subway had their Jared thing and they're still open, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't like it. So now they're going to say that Subway is the leading cause of cancer in America. Everybody pretty much eats processed food and meats and red meat and hot dogs and shit. So we're all fucked. So before the cancer gets you, why don't you just relax, smoke some weed, and enjoy a fucking podcast. Enjoy this fucking podcast, Jay. It's a baby whale.
The Natural Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast. Natural Habitat Podcast.
Wait. On your market set, wait. Jesus Christ. I already engaged the recording, man. Once it starts, once you pop, the fun don't stop, is what they say.
I guess so. Hashtag Pringles.
Pringles actually stole that slogan from us. That was the original slogan of the Natural Habitat Podcast. It used to be, once you pop, the fun don't stop, and now it's better than drugs, but even better on drugs. So we had to change it. I tried to sue Pringles, and they won the lawsuit. So here we are now with our new catchphrase. Thanks to Kyle Whitaker for that catchphrase, who will not sue us for using it, because he gave it to us.
Boom.
My name is Mikey Booyah.
My name's Unknown.
And you are now tuned in to the Natural Habitat Podcast. So if you... It's called the Natural Habitat Podcast, and if you don't know where you are, then you most likely have some sort of dementia, or you have hit your head, because I'm not responsible for that. You should be wherever it is you listen to podcasts, in your car, at work, at the gym. You're responsible for knowing where you are. But where your ears have landed is the Natural Habitat recording studio. We're on the 27th floor. And we've been up here all day just smoking. And we were getting ready to record this episode, and something happened. Craig came into our office. He's our executive, actually our ex-executive, because he came in to let us know that his share of the company has been bought out. Somebody came in, bought the podcast, and it looks like at the end of 2016, which is next year, the podcast will be broken up, subsidized, and divided into 3 different podcasts, which will be the Natural Habitat Podcast on Tuesdays, Throwback Thursdays on Thursdays, and Saturday Matinees on Saturday. So instead of our regular 3 episodes a week, they're talking about splitting us up into 3 separate podcasts, which we will still be hosting. I was surprised about that, because I thought they were talking about replacing us. And
I think they were scared.
They were scared?
Well, yeah, like once they brought it up, they kind of like backtracked a little and got scared. And it was like, well, we better not take the hosting gig away from them too.
Well, I told them that this gun was a prop. It's a prop gun. It shoots BBs. It takes a CO2 cartridge, so it's not going to hurt that bad. But apparently it must have been the way I was waving it into his face that he let us keep our jobs.
Well, you know what? I usually don't really like their ideas, but I feel like this could be a good one. So who knows? I mean, who really knows what the future holds? Mm-hmm. The future. What the future holds for the Natural Habitat Podcast. I mean, like, what if we did break up into 3 groups? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we had 3 separate podcasts,
Yeah. Would it really be that different, or would it be
Yeah.
would it be the same? I think it would be the same. It would be strange because, we wouldn't be talking about Natural Habitat podcast all the time. We would be saying here at the Saturday Matinee podcast, and that would be weird. And also,
I don't think we would say podcast. I think we would just say here at the Saturday Matinee, kind of like we do with Throwback Thursdays. We don't say
here on Throwback Thursdays.
Yeah, it's a days.
So,
I'm calling it a day.
And also another thing is that we would have to drive to 3 separate studios, which I think is strange. Like, why would they not record them all at one spot?
Yeah, one's a theater.
One's a comic book store.
Yeah, and then the other one is a dark, interrogation room
where we're in right now, which is this.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on. We are at where are we? What's today? Saturday. We're in the theater.
Yeah, we're in the theater today.
See,
it is dark in here, so I see how you get confused.
But right now, the theater is in the basement of the Natural Habitat building, and instead of it being in Tallahassee, which is where the new theater is going to be once they split it up. And I think the major thing for me is that our listeners might get lost in the internet and miss out on one of the shows. So, I think that we need to hear from our listeners and let us know. If you're on SoundCloud, you can leave a comment right now. Everybody stack up your comments right there and let us know, yes or no. Should we take this offer from them? It's a substantial offer. They're paying us in rupees and split up the shows at the end of 2016. Or should we tell them to fuck off and go guerrilla style like Anthony Cumia and record in our basement?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the real judge, so let us know.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. Mikey's on the fence. Mm-hmm. We're not sure what to feel, but we never are because we are too high usually all the time.
Yeah.
So let us know. What do you think? There's only one thing better than one, and that's more.
Also, that's right. That's very right. Very true. So
the retarded hashtag of the week winner is unknown.
So another thing that slipped by me until just now I'm realizing is that Craig left. He shook our hands and he bailed. He said that he wasn't really feeling work ever since Greg left or died, whatever, left this earth. And he's been in and out of work lately, so I guess he's stepping down. He sold the company. And even though it's not going through till the end of 2016, he's gone. So we officially have new bosses now. And I think it's going to be fun to fuck with them, figure out what kind of dudes these are, and, maybe try to pull some sort of, Christmassy Die Hard pranks in the skyscraper before they move us.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know.
Sounds fun.
So, Craig, we love you, man. We hope that you don't kill yourself this Christmas alone without Greg. And, just go easy, bro. Go easy.
Yep.
So, we're here on Saturday to bring you another classic movie. This is our first Saturday matinee of Dece, which is short for December, everybody knows. So Dece is Joey's favorite month, and favorite holiday is Christmas. With or without Christ, he doesn't care. It's just all about the cheer and the gift giving and the camaraderie of Christmas. So we decided that we would hit you with a Christmas classic, Christmas cult classic, and that is Gremlins.
People are like, what? Wait a minute.
Nobody knew that it was Gremlins.
I mean, yeah. And I think that's one part of the movie that was generally overlooked in our memories is the fact that it did take place on Christmas.
Right? It was it's not one of the things that stuck around.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's a perfect one to do for our first movie of December because it does stick to the theme, Christmas theme, but it is a little macabre, a little out there.
Yeah.
We like the weird, we like the crazy shit, and The Goonies was awesome. It was definitely different. It was weird, and it was textile.
You mean Gremlins?
It was, Oh yeah, Gremlins, not Goonies. I don't know why. If they're connected, then that's what keeps fucking with me. Sorry.
Are they? Are they connected? Oh yeah, that's right. Cause of mouth.
Yep.
Yep. Fuck.
So I don't know.
what?
I think that it really captured our imaginations because of it was puppets, and once again, we always talk about that. You know, about things that looked real, that you could reach out and touch them, and that was the effect that the live action puppets had on you. You know what I mean? It was left to your imagination because obviously it's not real, it's a puppet, but at the same time, it was a physical thing in the same space that you shared. So it's like it has that realness effect to it, and it has its own comedic value. It's got its own everything. You know, Gremlins really was the shit.
Yeah, there's something about that real life shit, because when you see something that's computer graphics or, you know, something that is obviously not real at all, and you're looking at it and it's not very scary. Like, you know that could never happen, that's just some sort of artist rendition of it. But when it's real like that, then you're like, okay, I know that isn't possible, but I'm also seeing this for real right here, and it adds that creepy factor to it. And another thing is that Gremlins were so fucking cute, and then when they flip, they're like the ugliest, nastiest things ever, like little demons.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's really what a gremlin is. It's a demon. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like it's crazy. It's crazy to me now, looking back and seeing like how many different connections that this movie had in popular culture in those times. And now that we look back, we have all these facts to quote and everything. It's kind of a trip, man. It's crazy, like how woven everything in our society really is. You know what I mean? It's like these movies really connected a lot of universes together, and we didn't really notice it because it was just the things that were happening throughout our actual lives. You know what I mean? Like whether it was the stuff the props that they were using, or the, you know what I mean, the things that were connected, like the products that we used or at the time or whatever it was. You know, like everything was interconnected, and it's all in one little spot.
And do you know what else is interconnected in this movie? This movie is tied into multiple movie universes. Another one being Back to the Future, because the set for Kingston Falls is the same one used in Back to the Future. So
crazy, right?
Going to the same places, and it's cool how all of these classic movies like reused this stuff and then became so amazing down the road. You know what I mean? Like, it was dope when it came out. It was an instant classic, but still, all of these things, you know, they didn't know that they were all going to be so relevant still down the road, because, you know, so many movies have been made that are really, really good movies and that are forgotten, that aren't, you know, on top 10 must-see movie lists everywhere. It seems like if you look up lists of, you know, must-see drama movies or must-see comedies, it's always the same shit. Like, they'll throw in a couple curveballs, but there's literally, you know, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of fucking films that have been made, and more every day are being released. So these few stood out and stayed timeless and are all connected with each other. You know what I'm saying?
And it has a lot to do with timing, like we would say. It was smart. They did it around a holiday. They did it around Christmas, knowing that if they did it right, it would be brought up every year forever, you know? And that's exactly what happened with this. It gets brought up every year. And crazy fact, this was set to be released for their Warner Brothers big Christmas release of 1984, but they had to rush it for the summer to compete with Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones.
Damn, that's crazy. So it was like, so this is like the moon landing of movies. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Christmas in July.
So I think the craziest thing that I found out so far about this movie, that we both found out, is about the PG-13 rating.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Which I didn't know. It was surprising that, you know, there wasn't a PG-13 rating before this movie was released, or while this movie was released. There was PG and there was R. So parents brought their children to movies in the summer of '84, and it was Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, both rated PG, and both very vulgar and violent. And those two movies alone were responsible for making the MPAA create the PG-13 rating, which is a trip. Like,
yeah, that is crazy.
That's not even that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it gave, whether they realized it or not, the harsher the ratings they gave movies, the more excitement it gave the moviegoers.
Yep. NC-17 was like gold back when it was a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rated R, rated PG-13 when that was new. I'm sure it was like, whoa, wow, we gotta go see that now.
Yeah.
Parents don't want you to see it. It's gotta be good, you know what I mean?
That shit's gonna be mad edgy, is what people said, and it turns out it wasn't. It was just a fun movie about demons.
Yep. Yep.
So, I think that another thing that makes this movie classic is we've brought up, a lot of movies with the same, the same consistent thing happening in all of them, and that thing is Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that Corey Feldman was in the movie until he took his Christmas tree hat off. And even when he took it off, when he was trying to bring the tree in, I didn't notice. But then when he walked inside and went upstairs, then I realized it. And it was just like, he was one of the craziest child actors. Like, for some reason, you could relate to him as a kid. Like, everybody thought he was cool, but he wasn't the cool guy. He never played a cool character. He was always kind of
he was the regular all-American kid.
And he wasn't a loser. He wasn't a cool guy. He was just a regular kid. And everyone related to him. And I think that is, definitely one of the nuggets of gold in this movie. And I don't know what the hell happened with Corey Feldman. Have you seen him lately with his Corey's Angels and shit?
No.
No?
I don't really pay attention, no.
I don't know how I stumbled across this, but Corey Feldman now, he wears leather suits. He wears leathers, leather pants and a leather jacket, but he doesn't ride a motorcycle or anything. And he has black hair and it's all spiky, he looks like he's in a punk band kinda. And some douchebag goatee. And then he has this big house in Hollywood somewhere. And I forget what it's called. He has some stupid ass name for his house. And he has these girls that are called Charlie's Angels. And no, not Charlie's Angels. It's that's Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen has Charlie's Angels. This guy, who am I talking about? I forgot his name. Corey Feldman has Corey's Angels. And he kind of stole Charlie Sheen's thing and kind of stole Hugh Hefner's thing. He gets these girls modeling gigs and he puts them in people's videos and shit. And they all live in this big house in LA. And he tries to be the new Hugh Hefner. But he's just on heroin like crazy. Super on heroin, getting pulled over with drugs all the time. And he's fucking losing it. And it was all... Do you remember the show that he had with Corey Haim?
No.
It was a reality show, and it was Corey Feldman and his wife were living together. And then Corey Haim, gets out of his halfway home because he got out of prison, went to a halfway house, and he didn't have anywhere to stay. So he lives with Corey Feldman and his wife. And he was just horrible roommate. And, they were talking about how they've been through everything together, so they're brothers. And he was of course I'm going to help him. I'm doing good. He had nice suits. He was doing gigs all the time. He was doing really good. And he was I'll help out my friend. And then Corey they got in a big old fight and he left. This was after the show was over. The show was kind of a publicity thing. It was all all scripted and shit. But he really was getting off drugs in real life, and they really have been friends forever in real life. So some of it was real. And Corey Haim left, and then he OD'd and died. And then Corey Feldman divorced his wife, and now is fucking Corey Haim. He's Corey Haim now. He's living Corey Haim's life.
Crazy.
So... I'm glad that we have all of these classics that have lived forever with Corey Feldman as an innocent child, because that's how he should be remembered. That's how
Yeah.
everyone should look at him instead of seeing
Nobody's
what he
gonna
is
compare
now.
the two. I don't think. You know what I mean? Like nobody really likes. Oh, nobody can compare the two. Honestly, like
What, Corey Feldman and
what
Corey
he
Feldman?
did, the achievements and shit that he made as a child, like in all the movies and things that he grew up in making, and all this stuff was classics, regardless of what he did to himself afterwards. Like that shit shouldn't even be brought up in the same conversation because it's completely different, like obviously the dude can't handle real life because he's been pampered for so many years, and that's the same scenario that happens to all these Hollywood kids. All these kids that grow up in these famous families or whatever all end up fucked up because they're all pampered and don't know how to do anything for themselves. Everything's always done for them, you know what I mean? And this is what happened with this kid. He just did too much good shit and now he's fucked up and paying for it because he's lived in an imaginary world for the last 30 years, you know what I'm saying?
Well, he needs to fucking deal with it because look at Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris is doing fine.
He's killing it. Yeah, he's murdering it. Yeah, and the smart ones are still, you know what I mean? It's like he could still turn around his shit. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could still turn everything around and come back and do it.
And get a whole
One
new
day
show.
I feel like sometime soon there might be some like reunion movie to get all the fucking brat kids back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And try to bring them all back for one last fucking hurrah before they are all too old. Like, I'm so stoked to see Luke Skywalker coming in a new Star Wars, and you know what I mean? Like, all this shit means a lot. Harrison Ford still being in the new Star Wars, fucking Princess Leia getting her shot again. You know what I mean? It's like, It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
It's gonna be nuts.
It's like everybody still has another chance if they really want it. They just gotta pull their head out of their ass.
Yep.
And do it.
So we believe in you, Corey, and you've done it before because I'm pretty sure he used to have all kinds of drug and alcohol problems, and then you were living your life with your wife in your giant house and shit. So you've done it before.
On that note,
you could do it again.
Yeah. On that note, we're gonna smoke one for Corey.
Yeah. What you need to
get
do?
Off drugs, bro.
You need
we're
to
gonna
just
smoke some for you.
You need to just go natural. All right. You need to smoke weed and you need to eat
program.
mushrooms. Because I think that after you eat mushrooms, you become a better and more positive person for about 3 or 4 months.
Well, it's hard to tell a heroin addict to try to do something different because I don't think anything feels better than heroin. Probably, I'm assuming. You know
you're
what I'm
right.
saying? That has to be, or else why would people always kill themselves on it? It's like it has to feel better than anything.
It's a good point.
So.
That's
Who
what
knows?
I think.
Stop feeling good and come smoke weed, you fuck.
maybe it's too late because we don't know. I've never done heroin. I had one chance to do it in my life, and the only reason why I didn't do it is because of all the stories that I heard about how good it was, and I didn't want to get into heroin. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. And so maybe once you do it, it's the door's closed. You can't come back. I don't know.
Who knows? But
because Neil Patrick Harris never did heroin, so that's why he's all right.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
You're right. I think he might have actually.
I think everybody in Hollywood's done heroin at one time, or like all the drugs probably. Like we don't see shit. We see what they want us to see, and that's it. But guarantee all these weirdo motherfuckers that have turned themselves into recluses or whatever that live in these little fucking castles up on the hills and hide from the world. Who knows what the fuck they're doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guarantee they're all doing some fucked up shit. And more power to them. I hope they do a lot more of it because, fuck, I feel your pain. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do.
That's really what life's all about, is getting enough money to buy a place that you could privately do weird shit that you don't want people to see you do.
Yes, exactly. We just want to hide out away from everybody and be our weird fucking self.
Exactly.
And that's it. And leave me alone. I don't care.
Life's only fun if you're being yourself through it. So let's be ourselves and get high.
Yeah.
This is the part of the show. It's called the NHP Smoke Sesh. It's where we all get high together, and you take pictures of yourself smoking weed or whatever you're smoking on, or a picture of a cloud, and hashtag it NHP Smoke Sesh. Also, there's another thing about it that I don't remember because we've already smoked before this. So just just make sure that you post your pics, hashtag them for a chance to get a fresh prize or a shout out, or maybe we'll come to your house and personally molest you. You never know.
You never know.
Oops. Let me start this over.
Intel.
Stoner.
There just might be a gremlin in your house.
It almost sounds like the Aristocats song.
Right? That is
another reason why the Gremlins was the shit, because it had its own theme music.
Yep. Any movie that has its own theme song is the shit. Except for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was an amazing movie and did not have a theme song, but that's all right. That's the only exception.
We made up our own, so don't worry.
Mm-hmm. So I forgot to bring this up earlier, but I'm going to bring it up real quick before we jump back into these Gremlin discussions. We are in dire need of a tech ninja to come and help us and join the team at the Natural Habitat Podcast. So if you know basic, video editing skills, you go to YouTube, look at the videos that we make. It's a picture with audio behind it. And if you can put audio over a picture and make it a video, contact us. And we just might have a non-paid job for you at the Natural Habitat Podcast. Because the load is getting crazy. We do 3 episodes a week. It's only us 2. And, Greg's dead. Craig's gone. Jerry doesn't do shit around here. He doesn't help us with anything. He says that he is not allowed to touch computers because of his religion. So if anybody out there wants to help us out, contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or email us at naturalhabitatpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll work something out.
Yeah, we got all kinds of exclusives for whoever wants to do it. We got exclusive gear and merch from all of our sponsors.
You'll get episodes early before anybody else does?
Yeah, you'll get every episode early. We got a lot of shit that we don't even want to talk about on the air.
You'll
that you will have access to.
The main reason why you'll get every episode early is so you can make the video. So it's part of work, but you also get to listen to it before anybody else. So if you think that you're the guy for the job, let us know and send us a full headshot folder as if you're trying to sign up for like an acting gig. You know what I mean? I want your strengths, your weaknesses. I want pictures of you sitting on a rock or something, and you're looking like noble. I want all that. And if you don't send all that in, then you're not going to get the job. I'm sorry.
Or you can edit up your own version of an episode and send it to us that way too.
Yeah, that could also be a resume.
And see what's good.
Mm-hmm. If you think that you could do it, let us know. So, that being said, I got
a clip.
Oh, you got a clip?
I got a clip.
Okay, you got a clip, and then I have a fact that is gonna fucking blow everything off. How do you say this? Blow the top off, blow the lid off the Pringles can. Once you pop, fun don't stop. All right, what's this clip? You gonna set it up, or are you just gonna play it?
It's when Billy meets Gizmo.
All right, cool.
Bathroom, buddy.
Oh, great.
Tra-la-la-la-la.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
You're gonna like this.
What is it, a birdcage?
No, don't shake it. We're gonna have to open it now. It won't wait till Christmas.
It's a puppy, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I can tell.
It's a new car. Bonnie, would you dim the lights, please?
Sure. Dim the lights. Dad, what does it do? Glow in the dark?
It's important. Trust me. Go ahead, open it.
What is it?
No.
It's your new pet.
Come on, Bonnie, be a good dog. You're kidding. Dad, it's really neat. Where did you get this?
Some little junk store in Chinatown.
Can I pick him up, Dad?
Sure, go ahead. Just be careful. You gotta be gentle.
I will.
I hope he's housebroken.
Oh, isn't he cute? Has it got a name, Dad?
Yeah, Mogwai.
What?
Mogwai. I don't know, some Chinese word. I just call him Gizmo. He seems to like it.
Man, it's like the best thing about this movie for me is that when people see Gizmo, like when the kid sees him, and when the dad sees him, and when Corey Feldman sees him, they're all just like, "Oh, what is that?" And then people go, "Oh, it's a Mogwai," or whatever, and then they're all like, "Oh,"
Like they knew what it was.
They're like, "Oh, cool!" And it's like, this is back in the '80s when there wasn't internet. And there was only, 5 channels on TV, and you couldn't just watch documentaries 24-hour loop about crazy animals all around the world.
Right.
And, nowadays, I think if you saw that, you would be more like, what the fuck is that thing? There's nothing like that anywhere. Like, what is it related to? People are like, it's a mogwai. Okay, like, what's a mogwai? Like, is that some sort of koala?
Yeah.
Nobody questions
You don't
it.
even know what language that is, for one.
Yeah.
It's just a word.
You
don't know what language it is. Just by somebody saying it, you don't know where it comes from. You don't know. You never seen any creature like that in a book or on a picture or a movie or anything. Somebody just throws it to you and they're like, "Here, it's a mogwai." See,
but back in the 80s, there was no access to all this information, so everything was new constantly.
Yeah.
Everything you saw, you were like, "Oh, really? That's a thing? Cool." You never questioned it.
What else was cool is how the dad's character was like an inventor, and he was like always creating shit, and like I feel like things really were a lot like that back then. Like there was a lot of like home inventors and a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And that was like the basis for a lot of shit for our lives growing up. I wonder if people still do shit like that.
I don't know. I hope so. I know that my friend growing up, his name is Ronnie Roberts, and we used to hang out all the time when we were in like junior high and shit. And
Ronnie Robbie,
and he, his dad was the guy that invented wireless headphones. So he like perfected the technology of making wireless headphones. And I remember going over to his house all the time, and he would have like this new design that he was working on, or he would be trying this new thing, and he would be like, "Here, put these on and go over there and like go in the other room, and I'm going to play something and tell me like what the quality's like and all this shit." And he would always test stuff out all the time, and he was kind of like that kind of character, you know what I mean? And then he ended up making it, patenting it, and selling it to a company.
Sick.
And fucking made a bunch of money off that shit. Wireless headphones.
It's the dream right there. Fuck yeah.
Yep. So I think, characters like that were definitely around more in the 80s and 90s. Whereas nowadays, everybody's parents are just big kids that are just dumb. Everybody's just dumb as hell. Whereas back then, I also think that it had to do with like, we were younger and we didn't realize that people were just grown up kids. So when we met someone like that, like a dad that was a crazy character or fucking that was like really strict, it kind of put that impression that, all adults were like that, or lots of adults were that kind of person and had these kind of morals and then you realize that people are just people. So,
do you know who was the voice of Gizmo?
I do know. And it's like if you grew up back in the 80s and 90s, then you would know the voice right away when you heard it. Like in that clip when we were playing it, you would know it because he did that voice all the time during a stand-up, and he did it on Bobby's World. So it was Howie Mandel, correct?
Yep.
Howie Mandel is ridiculous.
Yeah, he was dope.
Yeah, he was.
Still is dope.
I love him.
Was. He still is dope. He's funny as fuck still.
Yep. So I have this clip of Phoebe Cates, who is she's from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is another movie that we did.
Yeah.
And she is delivering a soliloquy in this scene, and this is, I believe, what she used to get the part. So I'm going to play this, and I'm also going to hit this bong while I do it and try not to cough over her thing.
Christmas Day came and went, and still nothing. So the police began a search. 4 or 5 days went by. Neither one of us could eat or sleep. Everything was falling apart. It was snowing outside. The house was freezing, so I went to try to light up the fire. And that's when I noticed the smell. Firemen came and broke through the chimney top. And me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird. And instead, they pulled out my father. He was dressed...
Dude, I thought this was something else. This is getting crazy.
He'd been climbing down the chimney on Christmas Eve. His arms loaded with presents. He was going to surprise us. He slipped and broke his neck. Died instantly. And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
Wow. That is an intense story.
Yeah.
So her dad dressed as Santa and tried to climb down the chimney for real? Who the fuck does that?
White people.
That's some white people shit for sure. That's fucking insane. And that's going to be the clip of the week. It's going to go up on YouTube, and it's going to be 3 seconds long, and it's going to go, who the fuck does that? White people. Done.
For sure.
So he fucking was climbing down the chimney, broke his neck, and there was a fire, apparently? Did she say that it smelled like burning? Why was he climbing down the chimney when there was a fire? Or did they set a fire after he fell? I don't understand what happened there. But I didn't know. I didn't realize that scene was going to be that. It had a great payoff. But I fell asleep halfway through this movie in the theater this morning. So that's the price I pay, I guess.
So Zach Galligan, who was Billy, beat out Judd Nelson and Emilio Estevez. And C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio, a lot of people for this part. What do you think if it would have been Emilio Estevez or fucking the Karate Kid? I mean, I guess it could have been the Karate Kid. He would have been close to similar, you know?
Yeah, I guess you're right. It really, they're really kind of all the same kind of guy. I haven't really seen Emilio Estevez young in movies. What movies has he done young? Can you think of any?
I don't know.
Because I've always seen him as a grown man, or at least in his 20s. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I want to say Young Guns, but that's just because it has young in the name. He's not young. He's a grown man in that movie. So, I don't know, man. I guess I'd like to be able to jump around between universes and see movies that are made with different actors at the time that could have almost gotten the part. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What they should do, dude. This is what they should do. They should have a fucking, like, some movie company. You can do this, but I've patented it and copywritten this idea on this podcast right now by releasing it on iTunes. So what you need to do is pay me for this idea. And the idea is that you have a movie and you cast 3 different people for the main roles. Like, you know, like the 2 main actors and then like one supporting person that's in the movie a lot. And you cast 3 different people for all 3 of those roles and then film the movie 3 times with the 3 different casts and release them all. And see what it would be like, and don't let each person know that it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, film them like at different times, so like exchange, so they're in the same sets, doing the same things, but they're never in the same place at the same time, and make them do like some sort of, you know, like you have to be in hiding while you're in character and like all this shit, so that way they don't know, and fucking like you can't say anything about it or announce anything anywhere, and then see what the movie would be like if it was casted with different people. You know what I mean? Because we never get to see that. And me being a movie buff, that would be cool to see, because we always say, what would that movie have been like if so-and-so got the part? Give them all a part. Give them all parts.
Right.
I know it's going to cost a lot, but Paramount could do it.
It would definitely make for a lot of interesting alternate endings or like alternate scenarios and shit for sure.
What it would
Could
be
really like twist some shit up.
What it would be is 100% original, and that's it's a good idea or a bad idea. It's never been done before ever. So if someone were to do it, that would be like groundbreaking in the least, and it would be a good gimmick. You know what I mean?
Word.
So I'm going to sell that shit. I'm going to sell that idea. You wait and see. You wait and
do it.
see. So for some reason, Gremlins is one of those movies that, you know, stayed around. It's one of those cult classics. You bring it up. Everybody always knows it. Why is that, Joey? Do you think it's because it was written by Christopher Columbus?
I don't know. I think it's really so many things that it got right, honestly. Like, it got the timing right. It got the holiday in there right. It got the cast right. They did the real puppets and everything right. You know what I'm saying? And so much so that each gremlin on screen was like between $50,000 and $65,000 a piece, the animatronic ones and shit.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, they got a lot of shit right with everything they did, which just made it that cult classic, plus the dialogue and everything. You know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things that really caught your attention because it was new and different. And at that time, the stuff that it had to compete with, like we said earlier, was so vastly different. You know what I mean? It was Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? Those are like 2 way different universes. You know? So Gremlins had to be its own and uniquely good universe to be able to survive in it. And I think that just had to have like all these things play in its favor.
Yeah, I agree. And another thing that I found out here is that this movie had an $11 million budget.
Still,
that's crazy, man. Especially for all of it being, you know, real stuff and not having any sort of, you know, crazy ass gimmicks going on or, you know, explosions and shit like that. $11 million is a huge budget. What do they do?
Yep.
Did they build that town?
It is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I saw a sweet little Burger King plug right in the beginning of the movie that stood out and bugged me. It's like, why you got to show that Burger King all right there in the middle of the frame? How much did you get paid for that? $10 million? And then the extra $1 million was their regular budget? I don't know, man. I think that Burger King has something to do with this movie, and it's like a subliminal thing to get us to buy cheeseburgers. And Gremlins, we really don't love Gremlins. We love cheeseburgers, and that's why everyone remembers Gremlins.
Well, I think it had a lot because, you know what I mean, it spawned a couple more movies too. So
yeah, I guess you're
Gremlins
right.
Gremlins is more known as a fucking franchise than anything else.
So is Burger King. Let's see how many times Burger King is in the second and third movies. Once we get to those.
There's a lot of shit in the other ones too. Yeah,
I know it.
I see Hulk Hogan was in Gremlins too. Yeah.
Really?
And they had the Gremlin commercial in the movie too.
Uh-huh.
The car commercial from the 70s.
That's crazy. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess you're right. Maybe it isn't Burger King. Maybe I just got paranoid for a minute. It's because the Burger King from the commercials, he scares me. His big, giant, emotionless face. Like, it's not emotionless. He's smiling, but it's just like, it never changes. And there's something wrong with that. You never trust someone that's always smiling and pops up in your bed when you're sleeping. So,
yeah,
I don't trust the Burger King. And he scares me. So I apologize, everybody. But one more connection that this movie had to Back to the Future is that Frances McCain, who played the mother, Billy's mom, also plays Lorraine's mom in Back to the Future. So
nice.
She was in the same movie, and I guess pretending to be someone else's mom because the universes were linking. And maybe it was an adopted daughter. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works. But there's a lot of background stuff and things playing on TVs and posters on the wall that are linking to, you know, other works by Steven Spielberg and his friends and things that were coming out at the time. And I think that's something that you don't see as much anymore in movies. Like, it used to be around, we're constantly bringing it up in all these old movies, how many times they do it, and you don't see it ever anymore.
No, now it's all real, like, ads from corporations and shit instead of fucking homies or whatever.
Yep, it's fucked up. So, Gremlins is, I'd say, the best Christmas movie to start December with because it's Christmassy, but not super Christmassy like the rest of the movies that we're going to do for the rest of the month. So,
yeah.
I think everyone should go, relax, and enjoy that shit today. It's Saturday. You ain't got shit to do. Shit, tomorrow's Sunday. So watch it tomorrow instead of going to church. And, you know, skip church for a day. You'll be all right. You don't want to go. Yep. You don't want to go see Josh Fierstein.
Yeah, or whoever that is.
That guy's a terrorist, man. Have you seen this dude's video? He's that pastor that's on YouTube or Facebook, and he has the backwards red hat and the beard, and he's like he looks like Kevin James. You know who I'm talking about? And he was complaining about Starbucks and their red cups and how they took Christmas off their cups and shit. And he made a video and uploaded it, and then he deleted it. But people saved it and re-uploaded it. People keep re-uploading it. And he's talking about how Planned Parenthood, like, kills all these babies and fucking does all this shit and, like, sells their body parts and puts them in Starbucks coffee. And then he says that that Planned Parenthood doctors, it's time tonight for Planned Parenthood doctors to run in fear for their lives and be scared for their lives. So he called his, like, 2 million viewers to go and terrorize, it's like domestic terrorism, to go and terrorize abortion doctors into not doing their jobs, and tried to delete it and save face, but it was pretty much like a giant terrorist act on YouTube because he has dedicated followers. It's not like he's just some douchebag. And he told them to actively go out and hunt these people down and make them fear for their lives, like some purge style shit. So he's just some crazy ass Christian fundamentalist guy, and for some reason I brought him up. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Do you remember how that started?
No.
No? Well. Oh, yeah. Don't go to church and go hang out with Josh Fierstein. because there's people like that all over the place. So stay inside, watch Gremlins, and have yourself a wonderful, wonderful December something.
Boom.
The Natural Habitat Podcast.